Last week, being the last week in September 2024, Airtable just launched out a bunch of new features, 4 massive ones, and they are really taking Airtable to become a true enterprise software. We're going to be diving into these 4 massive new features that have come out, some of them available on the business plan, some available only at that enterprise tier. So if you're interested in exploring these amazing new features with me, stick around and let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Gareth and this is Gap Consulting. It's our mission to help you unlock the full potential of your no-code tools. Airtable is one of those tools that helped put us on the map, and we absolutely love it still to this day. We are going to be diving into these 4 new features, as I already mentioned, but before we get to that, I first want to invite you to join me for some Airtable training. If you're new to Airtable, or if you've been using it for a while but you don't quite understand all the working parts, grab my free Airtable crash course. You can sign up at gapconsulting.io/Airtable-crash-course. Sign up for free, get that information sent right to your inbox, and learn the key fundamentals behind Airtable. But without further ado, let's hop on into my screen, and I am looking to start here at the email that I received. If we scroll up, this email sent out to most everybody. This is public information. I did have a little bit of a heads up that this was all coming, but this just came out 3 days ago, sent on September 26th, or at least that's when I got it. So we've got 4 big new features here. We're going to be talking about all of them in depth, but at the top, we've got App Library, HyperDB, App Sandbox, and organizational branding. If we were to click on the Learn More button here, it takes us to the actual blog announcing these. It doesn't go into detail on all 4 of them, so I'm going to be breaking down all 4 in this video, and then using this page to kind of highlight the key ones that Airtable is really focused on right now. I'll also be telling you which of these apply to which of the different tiers, whether it's the Plus, Business, or Enterprise tier or plan that you must be on in order to access these amazing features. So let's go ahead and jump into the first one here. I am talking about the App Library. Now, the thing that makes the App Library great is for all those larger organizations that don't want to have to build the same starting blocks every single time they do something. Let's say, for example, in your organization, you collect OKRs, which are objective and key results. It's a goal tracking and accountability planning tool that's used in a lot of businesses. So if you are using OKRs, you might get frustrated inside your organization when every different department shows up to the annual meeting with their OKRs in a completely different format. It's not really helpful. It's not standardized across the organization. And frankly, it's a lot of wasted and repetitive work that's being done in every department. So instead, what you can do is have your app library. So you can standardize and scale processes with the app library. And if we take a look here, you've got a demo that you can watch. The idea is for folks at the enterprise scale or above tier, they can access the app library. They can create their own apps, save them to the library, and then anyone with the right permissions within the organization can then add these particular templates effectively to their own workflows. This way, we're not recreating the structure over and over again. So here I am as a member, let's say, of the marketing team. I can go into my library, bring up the template that's been created and approved by my organization, install that, and then I can add and make any changes I need to on top of that. So I can bring in new fields if I need additional information that's specific to my department or the way or the process that we do things in my particular neck of the woods, but it's still standardized over the entire organization. So I've got the key different components that they're looking for at the organizational level. This is going to make things a lot better inside of building within multiple departments in the same organization. So imagine now you don't have to rebuild and start from scratch every time you're taking on a new small project. You can go to the library, install something that already exists, and drop it right in. Now, I already mentioned it, but this is available at that enterprise level. So if you're not already on that plan, we're going to flip over to pricing here. You'll see that you have to contact sales, at least currently, to get some customized pricing for that. That is the 4th tier here, including the free tier. So free tier being the first tier. The highest tier is enterprise scale. This is the one where you're going to get the app library. You can see it right here, checked off right on their pricing page. They've already updated all this information. Now for the second key feature, and I'm talking about HyperDB. Hyperdatabase. HyperDB is going to allow us, here I am back inside of the blog from Airtable, to operationalize millions of records of data. And this is groundbreaking because if you've been following this channel for any amount of time, you know that one of the key limitations of Airtable is that it caps out at 50,000, 100,000 records. So depending on your plan, this has been the major limitation of Airtable from the beginning, is that we didn't have access to unlimited amounts of data. So the larger organization that's working among millions of records is not able to effectively utilize Airtable. But that is all changing thanks to this new HyperDB. So now, as you see here, we can integrate data from platforms like Snowflake and Databricks, and then build functional workflows on top of that critical information. Now, this feature is also going to require that high tier, the enterprise scale plan, the one we just spoke about in the last section of the video, which is the Airtable's highest tier. Of course, this would make sense if you're working with millions of records. It would stand to reason that you should be on their highest tier. Now, I've seen a demo of this. I don't actually have an enterprise tier myself, so I can't utilize it and actually effectively play around with it. But what I've seen in the demo is that we are syncing essentially to a backend data source, or integrating, I should say, with that data source. And then we can apply filters on the source as we pull data in. So if you were working with, let's say, millions of contacts that have been past clients with your organization, you might apply a filter that says only bring the clients who have been added within the last 2 years. And so while you may have a list of 5 million records, when you actually filter it down to the last 2 years worth of clients, you're going to get a much smaller list. And through this mechanism, Airtable is able to more effectively handle the sync or the integration to that larger data set. Now, there's a second option that Airtable also demoed when they showed me this new amazing feature, and it included more of a live filtering. So you were actually typing in there and seeing specific information and then selecting a record from the list of tens of millions of records. So maybe this is another option for you. The key takeaway here, though, is that Airtable is breaking down barriers when it comes to large data sets. The biggest complaint, as I already mentioned, for Airtable over the last 10 years has been these guys don't handle enough data. Well, maybe for you, millions of data is finally enough. And if so, give Airtable another look. We're now moving into HyperDB. You got to be on that high enterprise scale plan. Again, if we take a look, HyperDB on that high tier. But if you're looking at, as I already said, managing multiple millions of records, probably makes sense that you're on this high tier with Airtable. Now, the number 3 feature here is not mentioned in the blog, but this is honestly the one that I am most excited about because the large majority of the clients we work with tend to be the medium or smaller enterprise businesses. And as consultants, we are constantly launching out for our clients new updates to their existing system. That's why I'm very excited about the third one, which is called App Sandbox. So the little blurb in the email says we can make changes to apps in a dedicated environment before we push to production. Now, this is currently in beta, as you see here. On that note, in fact, so is HyperDB, so still in beta. Expect that you may experience some bugs here, but the beauty behind App Sandbox is we can now develop in a sandbox environment without worrying about the changes that we're making to a live environment. And this has been a huge problem working with Airtable, especially, as I said, working with clients over the years, because many times they already have an existing Airtable system that they have to continue to run. And so now we're able to deploy essentially a copy of that, and we can make changes in the copied version. And then once everything is approved, we can push it live. And just with a few pushes of a button, everything updates. So all the things that we added in the sandbox environment get ported over to the live environment, and no one's work is ever interrupted. This is a beautiful new feature and one I am very excited to play with. And the best news of all, you don't have to be on the highest tier in order to access it. This new App Sandbox is available on the business tier. You can see right here, again, they've already updated this. App Sandbox available on their pricing page for business tier clients, which is that tier that starts at $45 a month if billed annually per user. So this is really powerful stuff. Again, being able to make changes that are not in the live environment, what a game changer this is going to be for us. I'm sure you can imagine how much simpler it's going to be to build in Airtable, especially if you're one of the people in your organization who are deploying these changes. This is going to save so much effort. Now, the fourth and final of these new features is organization branding. So now we can allow to reflect the organization's identity, to bring coherence to the end user experience. This is pretty straightforward, but effectively, we don't have to play with solely the Airtable colors any longer. We can now implement our own brand colors from our organization and take on a much more cohesive feel when we're building apps within an organization. You'll see on the pricing page here that the organization branding is only available at that enterprise scale level. So unfortunately, you do have to be on the highest tier in order to access this. But now we finally have the ability to really come in and start to change the look and feel of our apps just a little bit more. Now, in full transparency, this is a nice to have. It's not changing any core features within Airtable. But if we're being honest, the way people interact with data is very visual in many cases. So the more we can build that cohesive branded feel, the better off we are, making this a great addition to Airtable's new features. So I know we went fast in this video, obviously a lot of new changes to cover. I hope you got a lot of value in it, but let me know in the comments below which of these new features is the one that you are most looking forward to. Of course, if you got value from this, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, but most importantly, keep on building.